In the finale trailer for Dutton Ranch, Oreana is screaming. And the people who've been tracking this franchise longest say they already know exactly why. Does Oreana watch her father die in this finale? And if she does she ever forgive Carter for being on the other side of it? How does a season 2 even begin when the person Carter loves just watched the man who raised her get killed by the family she was supposed to become part of? Let's break down everything pointing toward the most painful consequence of tonight's finale. Before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you considered subscribing. We cover every twist in Dutton Ranch the moment new footage drops, and this is the thread that's going to define season 2. Okay, let's walk through exactly how Oreana got to this moment, because the scream in that trailer doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the end of a season-long slow build that's been quietly making her the most interesting character in the show. Oreana is Rob Will's daughter. She grew up watching her father be everything Beulah wanted him not to be, and by the time season 1 starts, she's somewhere between defending him and being embarrassed by him. She found Carter. She built something with him, and for a stretch of this season, that relationship looked like the one piece of genuine warmth in a story that's otherwise been about leverage, violence, and old debts. Then the anniversary party happened. Rob Will returned and forced Beulah into publicly naming him as her successor instead of Joaquin. And when it happened, Oreana didn't stay quiet. She sided with her father. She stood with Rob Will instead of with Beulah, instead of with Carter, instead of with the person she'd been building something real with. That choice told us everything about where she actually stands when things get hard. When her father pushes, she moves toward him, not away. Then episode 8 ended with Carter walking away from the Duttons entirely, going to Sheriff Wade's office instead of going home, and leaving Oreana in the worst possible position heading into the finale. The two people she's closest to are now on opposite sides of a line that's about to turn into a gunfight. Now here's what the trailer actually shows. Taste of Country, which has covered this franchise longer and more consistently than almost any outlet tracking it, flagged the scream directly in their finale breakdown. They noted Oreana is screaming in the trailer footage, and they didn't treat it as background noise. They said plainly they've got a pretty good idea why. Because Rob Will is the kind of villain this franchise kills in finales. The Beck brothers were killed in a Yellowstone finale. Garrett Randall was killed in a Yellowstone finale. Sarah Atwood was killed in a Yellowstone finale. The pattern is documented, and Rob Will fits every part of it. The same outlet noted that Beulah Jackson's daughter may have just witnessed her father's murder in this trailer moment, with Rip listed as one of the most likely suspects, alongside the Jackson cartel itself. That's two possible versions of an unbearable outcome for Oreana. If Rip kills Rob Will, Oreana watches the man Carter has called a father figure kill her actual father. If Mariano's people kill Rob Will, she watches her father die because the operation he was running, the one that's been putting everyone in danger all season, finally turned on him. Either way, the scream in that trailer is the moment Oreana's entire world collapses. And here's the rehook, because I think most people are going to focus on Rob Will's death as the finale's biggest moment, and completely underestimate what happens next. The real consequence of tonight isn't Rob Will dying. Rob Will dying was always where this was going. The real consequence is what Oreana does with what she just watched. Because she's confirmed to be in season 2. Carter is confirmed to be in season 2, and the two of them are now going to have to find each other across the worst possible starting point. Carter wasn't there when it happened. He was at Wade's office, separated from the ranch, separated from Rip and Beth, separated from everything. By the time he finds out, the outcome is already done, and the person who loved him is on the other side of it holding something she can never unsee. That's not a relationship that recovers quickly. That's a season 2 worth of damage packed into one moment tonight. There's also a version of this that's even more complicated. Oreana sided with Rob Will at the anniversary party. She stood with him publicly in front of everyone when he forced Beulah into a decision that humiliated Joaquin and shook the entire family. She knew who her father was, and she chose him anyway. So when he dies tonight, she's not just grieving a victim. She's grieving a man she went to the wall for. That guilt doesn't land the same way grief does. It lands heavier. And it means season 2 doesn't start with Oreana simply being sad about losing her father. It starts with her having to decide whether everything she stood for when she stood with him was worth it, whether Carter, who was already pulling away from her, can look at her the same way knowing she chose Rob Will in the moment that mattered, whether she blames the Duttons for what happened, or whether she blames the person who made her father into what he was. So here's what we know about what comes next. Season 2 of Dutton Ranch is confirmed, with the full main cast returning, including Natalie Allen Lind as Oreana and Finn Little as Carter. Season 2 is expected sometime in mid to late 2027. A new showrunner is being brought in to replace Chad Feehan, which means the person who'll be writing Oreana and Carter's aftermath will be building on what Tonight establishes, rather than designing it from scratch. What Tonight does to these two characters and how far apart it leaves them when the credits roll is the foundation that showrunner will inherit. And the scream in the trailer, whatever it's responding to, is where that foundation gets laid. So, tell me what you think. Does Carter find out what happened to Rob Will before the finale ends? Or does he walk back in after the fact? And is there any version of Season 2 where Oreana and Carter come back from this? Drop your read on it in the comments. I want to see your predictions before the finale actually airs tonight. And if you want the full breakdown the moment it does, go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate having you here.